Hi everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by anxiety or wondered how to tell the difference between normal stress and anxiety disorders, this episode is for you. We'll explore the key distinctions, share simple relaxation exercises to ease tension, and discuss how regular exercise and a balanced diet can make a big difference in managing anxiety. Whether you're seeking support for yourself or looking to help someone you care about, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and let's take this step toward a calmer, healthier you. Acute anxiety, millions, about 50 million of whom live in the US. More acute than ever before. Did you know that he suffers from anxiety? People have of course faced challenges in the past, but modern society has made anxiety more than at any other time in history. We can't deny it. 3 factors cause anxiety. 1. The pace of change in modern societies. 2. The moral and ethical framework for living together. Lack of agreement on social norms. 3. It is about the functioning of a post-industrial society. Growing discontent. People believe in the good of society or in the divine, as if they were connected to something bigger than themselves. Feel vulnerable and anxious when they are not. They feel people don't know other people or their own. By caring about situations that are beyond their concern, they can regain a sense of security and comfort. You need tools such as a supportive person or medication to deal with the situation completely. Even if you're a little bit worried by confronting the situation, you learn that you can overcome it. To understand anxiety, we must first understand. Distinguish from psychological states. Fear. When you feel, your emotions are based on a specific focuses on concrete issues. For example, what is important to you? You may be afraid of losing someone's approval. Acceptance of anxiety symptoms is the key. An acceptance in the face of anxiety. Develop an attitude of letting the situation pass. You give it away, especially if you don't know why you feel anxious. Anxiety can keep you busy. With anxiety, you have to change your body, your behavior. Examine your thought processes. Anxiety and anxiety disorders. The difference between normal anxiety and anxiety disorders. To be able to differentiate the severity of the experience and what. Measure how paralyzed you feel. Mental health. Specialists: panic disorder, agoraphobia, social phobia. Specific phobia, generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder and post-traumatic stress. Various types of anxiety including disorders. In anxiety, why the violent attack of the disorder occurred. Unexpected enough to make you wonder. Can make you feel. Keep 2 things in mind. With anxiety, understand the reasons behind how to cope. There's no need, and there is only one cause of anxiety, that there is a genetic and biological basis for human beings. Humans genetically and biologically, their structure, how their parents taught them as children, and their more recent past and beliefs. Anxiety due to various factors including they live. Essentially what determines our mood and our feelings. We can help ourselves in response to a particular situation. Is what we say. Relax your body. People first experience anxiety emotionally, and then they experience intense physical. As a sensation, victims are short of breath. Their muscles tense and their heart rate suddenly. They feel it rising. On these symptoms, you may think you have no control. But anxiety. To control your physical reactions and prevent paralysis, you can learn to curb its debilitating effects. One useful technique is the Chicago Dr. Edmund Jacobson's 1929 progressive muscle is lovemaking. The body is in contact with ideas that cause anxiety. All your muscles tense up without you even realizing it. If you prevent your body from tensing up, can prevent or neutralize anxiety tension. You can bring. Progressive muscle relaxation is the process of. Requires contraction and relaxation of the group's lower and your upper legs, gluteal muscles, shoulders, etc. Every. Stretch the group for about 10 seconds and then release. Pause for about 20 seconds and move on to the next set of muscles. Do this at least twice a day for 20 minutes. Do it in the form of choose a quiet place and don't let anything distract you. Try not to let it disturb you. Stable. Stick to the program. End muscle tension, stop the cycle. As Dr. Jacobson once said, anxious A mind cannot exist in a relaxed body. Relax your mind. The modern world thrives on hyperactivity. When you feel anxious, your mind starts working too fast. Begins. Most people in Europe and the US feel a sense of peace. It's strange to think that taking a deliberate action to arouse. But they think that the world, people in other parts of the world are trying to reach a state of calm. For centuries, the most effective way to overcome a phobia is to face it. The way you think about your life is the way you live your life. Affect the way you think. Images influence human thinking. To help shape your life, you can make your life a thriller. You can imagine it like a movie or a guided, using the imagery technique to calm the images in your mind. You can revitalize the benefits of such places. To the beach to experience beauty and peace. Imagine that you are driving or that you are in a forest. If it is difficult to calm your mind, try meditating. Try it out. Your fears about the past or the future, to let go and concentrate on the now, can help you learn. Meditating. To find a quiet place. As the ocean waves roll in, play soothing sounds. Relax your muscles. On the ground, sit cross-legged or in a comfortable chair. Sit on it. Do not judge yourself or try to. Stop struggling to solve the small problem. Do it regularly, even for a short time every day. Exercise. Think realistic. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One of them gets angry. The other accepts the inevitable in music. Listen. What you tell yourself is how you will feel. Determines. Knowing this is a great source of strength and more. Is the path to a calmer, more peaceful life. People who are prone to anxiety, fixation on thoughts about going away, they tend to feel anxious. This makes them feel anxious. Leads to your capacity to deal with consequences. That it can be a very bad thing when you underestimate. You can overestimate the possibility. Crooked. Learn to recognize thoughts. Are they logical? That they are not. You can see them as reflecting the truth. Replace it with productive thoughts. Face your fears. Fear of speaking in public elevator. Fear of riding or going to the doctor or dentist. Anxiety due to phobias such as fear of leaving. You may be experiencing. People may be responding to a particular condition or develop phobias when they become sensitive to the situation. To overcome a phobia, you can use exposure therapy. Break the connection between the situation and your anxiety. This will allow you to focus on something you're afraid of. To be exposed to it many times. In addition to an excessive number of material elements, a life full of financial and time commitments is one of the main causes of anxiety, something that bothers you or has bothered you in the past. Gradually, with the situations you find, when you confront them, these memories can make you lose your ability to control. They lose. Initial stages of exposure therapy can be disturbing. Long-term ways to alleviate phobia. With momentary pain to enjoy his gains. You have to accept the encounter. Divide the exposure process into two parts. The first one is the presence of a friend or professional. Get some help like meditation. Afterwards you can try exposure. Do not rely on support. In the past, that you can handle situations you have been avoiding. You will learn. Conscious about what you hope to achieve. B. For example, learn to speak in public. You may want to ask. Exposure therapy works. To use it to face your fear. Create a set of measures you intend to implement. Discarding, write down the steps you have planned. In the beginning it may take you a little. Make a list of what makes you feel uncomfortable. Son, you will have to deal with the situation that challenges you the most. Don't face it. At the lowest level with that situation. You have completed the process when you can cope with the discomfort. Means. From the time we wake up until we fall asleep. We are almost in a constant mental flurry. Exercise regularly. Exercise combats anxiety. Anxious. When you feel that your body is in danger. To the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response has as part of the adrenaline release. In that condition, your body naturally wants to exercise. Exercise is a way for your physiology to recognize affects the various characteristics it undergoes. For example, exercise helps you minimize muscle tension. It helps you minimize your body's excessive adrenaline and thyroxine. Exercise increases oxygen in your bloodstream, and endorphins and serotonin, which increase your sense of happiness. It produces. Stop worrying or all obsessive thoughts. Rather than trying to leave them in their entirety, you may choose to try to put it off for a while. Heart rate before starting an exercise program. Disease, high blood pressure or diabetes. Make sure you do not have a disease. At least, try to do aerobics 4 to 5 times a week. Yoga. Activities involving stretching such as dancing combined with aerobics. Very useful. Unfortunately, any reason not to play sports. You can find many reasons when time is short. Lack of time. Feel very tired, find exercise too boring. Or you tried it in the past and couldn't stand it. This one. Excuses for the benefits of exercise. Welcome it with positive thoughts. Eat right to stay calm. Most people incorporate coffee into their daily routine. To the brain. Unfortunately, caffeine has been linked. Increases the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. Norepinephrine prevents you from sleeping. Your body feels like it's experiencing stress. To feel like he's not getting enough caffeine. Caffeine is constantly. Can make you feel stressed. The caffeine you take. Reduce the amount to less than 100 milligrams per day. A cup of ground coffee is equivalent to 2 cola drinks or equivalent to less. Self-feeding is enough on a daily basis. Maintaining a routine of sleep, rest and work. Means. In the past, people had enormous wealth. If they weren't, they consumed very little. People today. The amount of sugar they consume. Cannot function. Increasing numbers of people are bleeding. Diabetes, which means excess sugar in the circulation. Disease or sugar deficiency, which means a lack of sugar. Hypoglycemia. The symptoms of hypoglycemia are similar to those of anxiety. Similar. Dazed, anxious or unstable. You may feel. To combat hypoglycemia. Simple sugars such as white rice and bread and simple. Starches less. Labeling at the grocery store. Read it. Minimize your use of processed food. Change your eating habits. Limit meat and cheese. Reduce. They make your body more acidic. Increased sugar consumption started in the 20th century and, in an unprecedented, reached a height. Until recently, nutritionists. The common misconception among the general public is that when reducing fat and protein, increase your consumption of complex carbohydrates, that it was necessary. Now nutrition experts. High because it increases the insulin your body produces. About the amount of carbohydrates eaten. They argue in disagreement. This is the body's. Produce hormones that promote peace and serenity. Impair its ability to function. When blood sugar drops too low, the adrenal. Your glands kick in and you become more anxious and adrenaline, which makes you feel aroused, and cortisol. Feed yourself. Modern life is a time when people are emotionally and physically. They need rest to achieve stability. So full of activity that they forget it's there. Take care of yourself. Get enough sleep every night. Have fun and spend time doing nothing. Create space for relaxation and recovery. Allow yourself to relax and recover during the day. Create times when you recognize freedom. If you don't take time to relax when you're working or you create in the fulfillment of your personal tasks, you accumulate tension. If you spend most of your time, physical and emotional, you may be ignoring your needs. This situation can increase tension and make you sick. Do less. Decide to do it. A little exercise every day. Make sure you do. Going to bed and getting out of bed. Prepare a timetable for getting up. Simplify. Anxiety is caused by having too many things and that you demand too much of your time is due to a more fulfilling life. Simplify to sustain. Simplicity and less. Contentment. Contentment means. It means denying and creating deprivation. A simple life requires time and money, but throwing away excess that does not bring you anything in return means. Dwayne Elgin's book, Voluntary Simplicity, to spend more time with the people you love, recommends you spend your time physically, emotionally, and by working on your spiritual capacities. Make use of it. Care for the poorest people in the world and worry about them. Minimize your consumption and buy durable products that use the least energy. Items you don't need that others can use. Get rid of things I want to work with people's society. Make connections with your spirituality, your perception of yourself, that makes you feel separate from everything around you. Maybe, but the reality is that everything you have access to, you are deeply connected, born with the universe. Experiencing connectedness. Treat your anxiety to start doing it. End the worry. Excessive anxiousness to be worried about. A lot of things happen. Stop worrying. You may find it difficult to stop and think about other things. Focus your attention on a project you want to complete and distract you from your worries. Physical. Do things, sports or something around the house. Talk to someone. One of the disasters of the modern world, and one of them is the one who doesn't spend enough time in conversations. People. About things other than your concerns. Speak up. Conclusions to be drawn. More people than ever before are suffering from suffer from anxiety. In order to cope with it, it's important. You do not need to understand the reasons why they occur. Normal anxiety and anxiety disorders, the difference between the intensity of the experience and how much. With the one that paralyzes you, what you tell yourself is how you feel. Determines. You have a history that you find uncomfortable or that you have situations that you find uncomfortable. When you finally come to terms with the fact, they lose their abilities. Exercise is one of the best ways to fight anxiety. Is one of the ways to reduce the ability to increase anxiety. Reduce the amount of caffeine you take. Give yourself time to relax and recover. Downtime. Times when you recognize freedom. Create your life to live with less anxiety. Simplify. Spend more time in conversation. Start talking about things other than your worries. Work. Thank you so much for listening today. Remember, understanding anxiety is the first step to managing it, and small, consistent changes can lead to significant improvements. If you found this episode helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. And if you know someone who could benefit from these tips, share this video with them. It might just make a difference in their life. Let me know in the comments what strategies have worked for you, or what you'd like me to cover in future episodes. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep moving forward.